know who you are. An archetype is like a narrative genre. An example of this is the hero archetype, in which an often downtrodden everyman or woman is faced with some form of conflict, may suffer setbacks, and then, by addressing said conflict, rises to the occasion and goes through some kind of personal growth experience that somehow profoundly transforms them into somebody who can and does save the day. Archetypes. 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 Archetypes play on metaphor, and this is to, in a fourth dimensional sense, help the audience work out similar problems and situations in their own lives. As a piece of journalism, the archetypal sentence that naturally should be in the place of this sentence would start with the word but, followed by a question intended to vivisect the topic of the article and give the reader or listener or viewer a push in the direction to begin thinking critically. Better late than never, and my but question is already 2 sentences late, so here it is. But how similar is too similar when it comes to archetype, and when does a narrative theft, if not outright plagiarism, then become illuminated? I was chatting with a friend, and in passing he mentioned a DC Comics show called Doom Patrol. As he described it to me, the tropes of the show's narrative, such as a magic book which held world-ending potential, a donkey with a dimension inside of it, and the term meta-human, screamed to me to be metaphorically identical in certain tropes in my book, Black Magic, the sequel to White Science. Now, before we allude to DC Comics and its Doom Patrol having existed long before my universe, I must say that I'm only as familiar with the DC franchise as the conversation I had with my friend this evening. But in this conversation I heard that Doom Patrol, the show, came out in April of this year, whereas I started writing Black Magic in the psych ward at the end of June in 2017. I've since been publishing it to my WordPress page, a chapter at a time, starting with chapter 1 on August 3rd, 2018. The quote, "Metaphorically identical tropes running parallel to, for starters, the magic book holding world-ending potential align with..." Start again. The quote, "Metaphorically identical tropes running parallel to..." Do you mind? Shh. The quote, "Metaphorically identical tropes running parallel to, for starters, the magic book holding world-ending potential align with, in my universe, the Black Book, which carries in it cures to ailments my character Bex hadn't even heard of, as well as the book itself having the ability to address its reader by name, among other strange characteristics. The donkey with a dimension inside of it seems to be a trope crossover of Urget, a biomechanical motorcycle made of limbs, organs, and accessories, crossed with my character Litna's alchemy kit. You know, trying to narrate with this voice that keeps cracking on and off. You know, you think I'd smoked too many cigarettes, but it's been this way for 6 months, and that's what you get. That's what you get for practicing without a PA. If you can't hear your voice when you're doing the kind of vocals I'm doing, you're going to wreck it. Anyways, bear with me. Start at or get. A biomechanical motorcycle made of limbs, organs, and accessories, crossed with my character Litna's alchemy kit, which can compact and store anything into it of any size, as well as produce anything at all from itself. A seeming hand mirror or makeup case. It's an alchemy kit. And the last one seems to me to be glaringly obvious as a parallel to the term in my book, metaclone. Metahuman, metaclone, yeah. So metahuman in the game Fallout 3 was used as a self-descriptor by a super mutant, and in this last example we can comprehend the subtlety of metaphysics as never quite pertaining to reality precisely. This is the nature of metaphor, and it must be so. However, while I can't allege meta theft in a precise way, I can go to the grocery store and use the points I've collected with my rewards card to get free food. The algorithm they use can predict what I am likely to purchase, and some of these algorithms are so sensitive that they have had coupons for baby formula or perhaps folic acid delivered to someone in the mail that someone didn't even know they were pregnant. Therefore, I pose that an algorithm could have predicted that I would be writing this article. It is plausible, however, it is not something I can prove. Before I was diagnosed with schizophrenia, I would write about my own take on spirituality and other topics, such as a lament towards a future where it was possible that marijuana and maybe psilocybin mushrooms were legalized, and that I could be sitting on the lawn chair looking down on the earth from the moon smoking a joint. Here in Canada, prohibition of weed has ended, and if I'm not mistaken, Colorado has at least decriminalized magic mushrooms. Back then, I felt a penchant for hyper-honesty, so I sent a friend request to every person I had ever met, and in my bio on Facebook, I liked as many topics / brands, whatever you name it, as I could think of. The ads on the television began to break the fourth wall, and I was the only person in my social circle who could see this. I became crazy in the community, and what's more, I had no ability to articulate exactly what was going on, which led to the development of suicidal tendencies in me. When I amateurishly made an attempt at my life by swallowing a handful of aspirin, the number 8 comes to mind as the estimate. This won't kill you, but it could damage your stomach lining. When I did this, my grandma came down to get me and to take me to the hospital and to get my stomach pumped. This didn't happen. Instead, I was coerced into the psych ward following an examination of my obvious duress. They interviewed me with questions such as, do you have any powers? Have you tried this before? Suicide. Do you believe in God? Anyways, in situations where it is suspected that you are suffering mental illness, you have no choice but to take what medication they give you. If you refuse, they will get consent from your nearest relative to force this medication on you with the help from 2, 3, or more hospital security guards to physically hold you down so a nurse can administer promethamine plus haloperidol, a fast-acting sedative antipsychotic. From then onwards, when I said something that my friends and family couldn't or wouldn't understand, their concern for my health was enough to land me in the psych ward on many occasions. If you've seen my video titled "The Legacy Media May Have Given Itself PTSD, then you might ask, as I do, how many people were gaslit and then ostracized from friends and family on Mark Zuckerberg's behalf. That video has statistics cited, so do the math yourself. Anyways, if one of these algorithms can predict where you'll be 3 months from now, it's only natural that they could, by proxy, steal a sci-fi author's narrative and complete the work before he does. Throw older, perhaps unrecognizable characters from an existing franchise into the mix and mass-produce script after ripped-off script to maintain ingenuity in Hollywood. It is plausible, but not precisely provable. I guess I should at least check out Doom Patrol and pray they don't spoil the ending of my book. Not this one, but there's plenty of spoilers in here that I won't show you. Prescription, subscription. Trust me, I'm a musician.